there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. It's time for a new everyday makeup drawer for the month of March, and I definitely want to do a much better job this month than I did last month, because last month I completely neglected the products in my everyday makeup drawer in favor of my Tower 28 products. But this month it's going to be different. I am actually really going to use these products. I'm just going to have to put Tower 28 to the side for right now and use up some of these products because these products don't need to be neglected. Some of them are really good. So if all that sounds interesting, let's go ahead and get started. I have rearranged this drawer a little bit differently. I feel like I got it a little bit neater. I did do some declutters of some face palettes that were in here. I didn't film it because there really wasn't much to film. It didn't take hardly any time. I actually meant to include it in my bronzer and highlighter declutter, but I didn't. I actually ended up forgetting because I forgot I keep my face palettes in this top drawer and not the bottom drawer, so I didn't film that, but I feel like now all the face palettes are right back here. They all fit better. Let's start with primer. The primers that I did have for the month of February were this one right here, the e.l.f. Jelly Pop, and the CoverGirl Color Correcting Serum. So I'm going to be putting both of these back, and I'm going to be picking out some new ones. The first one I'm going to pick out is this one from e.l.f. This is their Cookies and Dreams Putty Primer. Or Poreless Putty Primer. I have quite a significant pan in this one, and I would love to extend that pan even further. As long as I'm using this makeup drawer this time, I feel like I can hit even bigger pan. I would love to finish this up because I don't believe you can get this one any longer. I believe now it has finally been discontinued, so I want to get some good use out of that product. Okay, for the other primer, let's include this one right here. This is the Power Grip Primer from e.l.f. I'm just going to use that one. I'd like to get some more use out of this too. This is a pretty good primer. I like this one, so we'll include that one. Okay, next up, the foundations that I had in February's makeup drawer were the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin and the Lottie London Velvet Skin Tint. So I'm going to replace both of these out and pick two new ones. Let's start with this one right here. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk Foundation, and this one's in the shade Fair. I haven't used this one in quite a long time, so I think this will be a perfect one to include in my everyday makeup drawer. And let's include this one right here from e.l.f. This is their new Camo Hydrating CC Cream. This one is in the shade Fair 100W. It's not a bad product, but I'm just not a big fan of these CC creams from e.l.f. I think it's just because they're a little bit more heavier than what I'm going for, but as long as I can keep the coverage really low, like just use a small amount, I do like it, so I'm going to include it and get some more use out of it because it is fairly new. They just recently launched it, I think in January maybe. Okay, the powders that were in my last makeup drawer were this one, the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder in the light pink shade, and the CoverGirl Clean Fresh pressed powder. This one was in the translucent, and I did hit my goal after all with this CoverGirl powder. My goal for the month of February was to hit pan on it, and I did successfully hit pan, so I am really happy about that. So it is time to put these two back and pick out two new ones. First, I am going to include the CoverGirl Clean Fresh. This is the pressed powder in the shade Porcelain. It's the same powder, it's just this one has like more of a skin tone tint to it, so I am going to be including this one. I feel like I can see kind of some indent in this one. Well, not right there. That was where I accidentally dug my finger in one time. But I feel like I can start to see some indent in here, and I would love to start using this powder a lot. This is one of the best powders at the drugstore, in my opinion. One of the best pressed powders. I really do enjoy this one. And then for my loose powder option, I'm going to pull this one from Rare Beauty. This is in the light shade. I feel like I want to make really some significant dent in this powder, so I am going to include this one. It's a really nice one to have. Okay, for corrector, I had this one right here from Milani. This is the Under Eye Brightener in the shade Rose. I was using this one, so I want to switch that one out. And actually, even though this is a liquid eyeshadow, this is from Lottie London. This is the Color Cloud Longwear Matte Liquid Eyeshadow. This is in the shade Pink Slip. This has actually become like a really nice under eye color corrector. It's a little bit dark for my under eyes, but I feel because it is a little bit darker, it really covers the blueness that's under my eyes a little bit, so I've been using it that way. If you watched my video that went up this past Friday, you will see me using this product in that manner. I find that it's a good way for me to use this up because I don't really use it as a liquid eyeshadow, so now I can find a different purpose for this and really use it up. For concealer, I had the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener and the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in Fair Warm. So it's time to replace both of these and pick out two other ones. I'm going to use these two again. This is the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum, which is in the shade Light. And then I have the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. Mine is in the shade Y1. I'm going to use both of these. I think both of these are really nice concealers. I like them both. And one thing I like about both of these is they're really beautiful on their own, like wearing them almost like a foundation. So I'm going to include both of these. Now, the only face palette I had was this one from Hourglass. This was the leopard one from this past holiday season. But I think instead of pulling one of my Hourglass palettes this time, I am going to pull a face palette from this drawer right here. So I'm going to be putting this one back, but now I keep this in a separate location from in here, so I'll be putting that up soon. And I'm going to include this one right here. This is from the Relove brand by Revolution. This is their Duo Blush and Highlighter. This one is in the shade Sweet. I just think this is like a really pretty everyday combo of highlighter and blush. These are really, really pretty. You can see how soft that is. And the blush is the same way. It's just a really soft, of course you might not can see that with my light right there. But they're very pretty, they're very soft, and I love this little palette for every day, so I'm going to be including this one. For mascara, I've been just consistently using these for the e.l.f. Lash and Roll, the e.l.f. Lash Extender, the Tower 28, and the Laura Geller mascara. These are still going strong right now, so they're just going to go right back in my drawer. I kind of hate that I have all this many open at one time, but I was trying a lot of brown mascaras. All three of these are in the brown shade, and I've just fallen in love with brown mascara, so that's why so many are open at one time. So these are just going to go right back in. Okay, for brows, I had the e.l.f. Instant Lift Waterproof Brow Pencil. This is in deep brown. And then I had the Revolution Laminate Brow. This was just, I'm just using this for the gel side because I don't like the pencil side. It's not the right shade for me. So I'm going to include this back in there just so I can get more use out of the gel. I'd like to use the gel completely up and then I can get rid of this pencil, so I'm going to put that one back in. And for my brow pencil, I'm going to go back in with the Kosas Brow Pop. This one is in the shade Dark Brown. This is like one of my most favorite brow pencils. This color is absolutely perfect. It's a really nice cool tone brown, so I will be including this one again. I have missed using it. Okay, for eyeshadow sticks and eyeliners, these were the ones I had. I had the e.l.f. No Budge Shadow Stick in the shade Magnetic Pull. I had one from ColourPop. This one is in the shade Joyride. And then I had one from LA Colors, which is just in the pink shade. I only used this once and I didn't even touch these. I think I'm just going to go ahead and probably declutter the rest of my eyeliners. I'm not an eyeliner person. I never wear them. Even when I put them in my everyday makeup drawer, I'm still avoiding them because I just don't like to wear them. They're just not really something I look for. So I probably will end up just decluttering the eyeliners that I have. So I think I'm going to pick out at least maybe one eyeshadow stick. And the one I'm going to pull is this one right here from ColourPop. This is their shadow stick in the shade Give Me a Sign. This is actually a matte, but I thought that it might make like a really nice base for other products, or maybe like a good one and done for some days, because it is a pretty color. And I've only used it a handful of times, so I'm hoping I can actually force myself to get more use out of this, because I hate that I don't use liners much, but now I just know going forward not to purchase them anymore. Okay, so that is everything from this top drawer, so let's move on now to my second drawer for like my bronzers and highlighters and products like that. Okay, second drawer, I have really reorganized this drawer. I have now fit all of my lip products into here, which I like so much better. Instead of having them up there on top of where my everyday makeup drawer was, I have all of them in here, so now I feel like I can rotate them much more easily when they're all in one place. But let's start with bronzer. The two bronzers that I had in my everyday makeup drawer were this one right here from Wet n Wild. This was the Ticket to Brazil, the original, and then this was the Rare Beauty stick bronzer in the shade Power Boost. I did have Happy Soul in here instead, but I did declutter that one, so I replaced that one with this one. So I'm going to be returning these. Okay, so for a powder bronzer, I'm going to include this one from Milani. This is their Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade Sunlight. I haven't used this one in a while, and it is a really good one, so I'm going to be including that one for my powder option. And for my cream bronzer, I'm going to use this one right here from e.l.f. This is their Luminous Putty Bronzer. This one's in the shade Summer Fridays. I haven't gotten as much use out of this one like I have their original putty bronzer. I've used the original one a lot more than this one, so I want to include this one and get some good use out of it. The powder highlighter that I had in my last drawer, I decluttered that one, so the only one that was in there was this one from e.l.f. This is their Halo Glow Beauty One highlighter in the shade Rose Quartz. I'm going to be putting this one back. I'm going to include this one right here from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beauty Light Wand highlighter in the shade Spotlight. I feel like maybe, just maybe, if I did use it consistently, I could use this product up and really get rid of it because it's a little mini, so I would like to have another empty, so I'm going to include that one. And for my powder highlighter, I'm going to use this one from Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in the shade Bloom Time. This is so pretty, and I think that it would look so stunning with a blush since it's got like that pinkiness to it, so I definitely want to include this one. Okay, the last two lip liners I had in here were the e.l.f. Cream Glide Lip Liner in the shade Pinky Swear, and then this was the ColourPop and Rudolph collection. This was just the Rudolph one, which was like the deep red shade, so I'm going to be putting these two back. And from this angle, you can't see where I keep my liners because they're like in this far corner right here, so I just pulled out the little container. This little container, by the way, come from Dollar Tree. Now these right here on the top are just too a little bit longer to fit in here, so this is where I keep all of these. So I need to figure out what shade that I want to use. Okay, I took some time to swatch some, and I want to include this Rare Beauty one in the shade Worthy, and then this NYX Slim Lip Pencil in the shade Pale Pink. And that is what these two look like right here. Now, I will say Pale Pink, I don't really like that on its own, but I thought it would make a nice pairing to maybe like a deeper lipstick or something, like just put it in the center and lighten things up. So I'm going to see if I can get some use out of it because I'm not really a fan of that shade on me. It's just too pale. It almost gave me like concealer lips, so I thought it'd be a nice one though to include and see if I can use it in some way to get some use out of it. Okay, for lip balms, I had this one right here from CoverGirl. This is their Clean Fresh Tinted Balm, and I had the shade I Cherish You, which was like this soft little red shade. So I'm going to put that one back in here. And I keep my lip balms in this little container right here. I think I'm going to use this one right here from Rare Beauty. This is a liquid lip balm in the shade Nearly Mauve. I think this might be a good shade. And I have not worn this one in a while, so it'd be nice to pull this shade back out and get some good use out of it. Okay, right next to that, we have this container right here, which are my lipsticks. And the lipsticks I had last time were the ColourPop and Rudolph lipstick. This was the Rudolph shade, which was the deep red. And then I had the e.l.f. O Face Satin lipstick in the shade Dirty Talk, which is just a really pretty nude shade. So I'm putting both of these back. Okay, for lipstick, I'm going to include this one right here from Rare Beauty. This one is in the shade Creative. And then I have this little mini one from Give Beauty. This is their Anaheim Shine lipstick in the shade Stomp Box. It's just like a really pretty nude. There are those shades swatched out right here. This is the Rare Beauty one in Creative, and then this is the Stomp Box shade from Give Beauty. I think these are looking really nice together. Okay, so the next container right here are my lip oils and lip plumpers. So I'm going to be picking from this one. And the lip oil I did have was this one from Merit. This is in the shade Marrakesh. This was the one I had in the last one, so I'm going to be replacing this one. The first lip oil I'm going to pick is this one right here from NYX. This is their Fat Oil in the shade Follow Back. This was a bit newer to me, and I didn't get a chance to use it that much, but I think it'll be really nice option. Really pretty warm tone option, and these are really nice. I did like this one. This time I do want to include a plumper, so I'm just going to include this one right here. This is the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme. This is just the original, I believe, so it's basically like a clear, so I'm just going to include this one. My last everyday makeup drawer, I had this one right here from CoverGirl. This is the Clean Fresh Yummy Gloss, and this one is in the shade Sugar Poppy. So I'm going to be putting this one back. And I'm going to be including this one right here from Lights Lacquer. This is their Jelly Balm Lip Lacquer in the shade Alyssa. I really like these. I think they're so nice on the lips. It's such a pretty color. I love that I'm just picking out all these pretty more nude shades. In my last everyday makeup drawer, I had red options, and I just don't wear red. So this time I think I will definitely get more use out of this drawer. Okay, so that is everything for here. So we're going to move over to where I keep my blushes and pick some of those out, and then that will be everything. Okay, here are my blushes. Now the last powder blushes that I had were these three right here from ColourPop. I just had their little heart-shaped blushes because I felt these would be perfect for the month of February with Valentine's Day. So I'm going to be putting these three back. I think for powder blush, I'd like to pick just one and really focus on that one. I think that would be a best way to do it. Instead of pulling a lot of options, I think that way I would get more use out of a certain blush. And I think the one I'm going to use is this one right here from Essence. This is their Pure Nude Baked Blush in the shade Shimmery Rose. I think this will be a really nice, really light option because I just think that's pretty, and I think it'll pair well with that highlighter that also has a bit of a kind of a pinky shift to it, so I'm just going to include this one. Okay, for my liquid and cream blushes last time, I just had these two from e.l.f. These are the Camo Liquid Blushes in the shades Peach Perfect and Dusty Rosé, so I'm going to be putting both of these back. These are really lovely blushes though. And I just have like this little random section here for creams and liquids that's really kind of overflowing. I'm picking out such a soft shade in the powder. Let's use this one from Said. This is their Dew Blush in the shade Chili. I think this would give me like a little bit deeper of an option, but it's still really soft. You can really sheer it out, but I think this will be a really beautiful blush, and maybe even pair it up with this powder, like put the powder over top, since this one has a little bit of shimmer to it, so I think that'll be nice. I'm gonna include that one. I'm hoping you can see this well. I tried not to put my ring light directly on these little acrylic shells because it really reflects badly, so I'm hoping you can see this. Now, what you're seeing in here is just like my eyeshadow primer, my lash glue, and then in here are some mascaras that are like still in packages, like the ones you can get for like points awards and stuff. That's all that you see in there now. So let's go ahead and put all these products back into my everyday makeup drawer. And there we have everything all neatly placed back in, and this time I'm hoping to definitely get more use out of these products, and especially since I picked out a lot more on the neutral everyday style of makeup, so I think this will be a really good makeup drawer for me to focus on. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already, and please make sure to follow me over on Instagram at Jessica Dearly, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!